legs. It looked like it for a second, really pushing up against the other one. This is really fascinating. Wow, this is great to see. I've not seen hippo fighting like this for quite some time. But look at those mouths, two huge bodies clashing. Clash of the titans in the water this afternoon. Now those teeth can cause a lot of damage. You often see hippos with very bad and serious cuts on their body, and that's from fighting with one another. Some of these big hippo can get up to, I think females are obviously much lighter than males, maybe 1,400 kilograms, but big males can get up to 2,000 kilograms, so 2 tons. So, Exquisite Bliss, you asked why the hippos fight a lot. So, a lot of the time it's just for dominance. So, when males fight because... Okay, so we need to actually first look at it this way. There are not a lot of water holes around, for one thing. Now, especially in winter, a lot of dams and that dry up. So, what happens then is hippos are forced to congregate in dams together. Now the thing is, it's fine if it's a pod of females and one dominant male. What happens though is you get 2 dominant males like these 2 over here, and then because they're being forced to be in the same dam, they then challenge one another because the dominant one gets to mate with the females. So all it is again is trying to establish dominance, trying to mate with females. Excuse me. Trying to mate with females. So when they are pushed into dams or into areas when they need to go into those areas because of the water drying up, then the tension increases and the competition increases, and therefore they do end up fighting a lot more. So that's mainly why the hippo will fight. Alright, I'm going to sit here a little bit longer, see if these 2 carry on fighting, but let's head to Taylor in the tent. I wonder what she's up to now.
Well, I was going to make you watch a clip, but I don't think we're going to even need to watch a clip because we've got so many different things. Now, first things first, I have a quiz for all of you. Can we very quickly go across to Microscope and have a look what I've got hiding underneath there? I'm waiting. We're waiting for the Microscope feed. There you go. There it is. Right. Look at that bizarre looking thing. I wonder what that could be. I think you all need to try and take a guess and see if you can figure out what we've got hiding under the microscope. Hashtag Safari Live with all of your guesses. I have to open Twitter. Now you can only say nice things about me because I'm going to go onto Twitter now. I have to first figure out how to actually even get on there. We'll do that, and then I'll hopefully see some of your answers. But it's a strange looking thing. Take some screenshots, share them around. Let's get creative. And I promise you that you probably won't even know what it is. I'll be impressed if anybody gets this. I think it'll be super impressive. And I have to go hashtag Safari Live with me so I can see if there are any answers coming through. Right, let's go to the hashtag. Okay, you can come back to me if you like. Now, Paula, you say that it is a seed pod. Maybe, but we need to be a little bit more specific. Ooh, there's lots of things coming through now. Oh, John, you say some kind of egg. Claude, no cigar, unfortunately. It is not an egg. Let's keep those guesses coming through, but thank you for being so quick with your responses. How great is that? Well, we'll just leave it there. We'll let you think, and we'll let some of the guesses come through. Like I said, I'm being sneaky here. But what else I have for you today is, seen as though we were talking about pollination and trees, and I've often spoken about the guarri trees. They're one of my favorite trees. It was one of the first trees I ever learned about when I started working in the bush, but this species of guarri that I first learned about was the Euclea undulata, the common guarri. Neither of these two species that we have over here are the Euclea undulata. This one over here, we've got quite large leaves. This is the Euclea natalensis, a natal guarri. And then this one, which has got much smaller leaves, this is the divinorum, Euclea divinorum, the magic guarri, which is the most common one that we see out here. And you can start to see that they've got little flowers starting to develop on them. This one's already starting to develop the little fruits, and both of them are edible. Now, they're quite lovely. Now, with this one that I'm holding over here, it actually smells so nice. It's also got quite a sweet sort of smell. The flowers typically are like little white and a little bit of yellow on it too. But amazing plants, and very, very important to have out here in the bush. Again, speaking about pollination, I think it's more sort of beetles and maybe some wasps and things that will pollinate these rather than it being the butterflies. I stand under correction, though. I'll have to keep note and see what I can spot. And there was a question earlier from John. Now, Chantal did ask me it, but I didn't quite not understand. I didn't hear what she actually had said. But the question was, do the big cats, when marking their territories, help with pollination? Now, that can apply to, of course, any tree. It doesn't just have to be with the knobthorn flower. Now, so the answer to that is, in my opinion, John, is no. Because if you think about it, when a leopard or a lion goes up and tries to mark its territory against a tree, typically when it's urine spraying, so we're going to go into a couple of different things now. So when it's spraying its urine up against the tree, most of its body is not really touching the tree at all. So in that case, they're not contributing to pollination. However, I suppose when a leopard and a lion will use its scent glands on its cheeks, I'm going to put these guys down now, maybe because they go in, they rub up against the tree, just as your cat will come and rub up against you. So when you think that your cat's showing you attention, it's marking its territory. You can't trust those cats. They rule the roost, don't they? And I suppose if they do, if they keep going to the same species of tree, and a common one out here is in fact the guarri trees, and we typically see them marking up against guarris too, just because they're so prominent. They grow up against the edge of the rows. They're quite an easy tree to grow. They're not fussy when it comes to types of soils. And maybe they do, but I don't think it's a big enough impact out here. I still think that the insects will be the ones that will be pollinating them, and then, well, wonder who's responsible for seed dispersal. Probably humans as well, because we love to eat the fruit, but birds, monkeys, they'll be responsible for passing on the seeds, for instance, not just of the guarri trees, but also of the knobthorns and anything else that has of course, these little feathers. Now, I'm going to put this down again, because I need to open the tent document now. So I'm just going to throw those away. Where do I go to the tent document? I don't like working on a computer very much. Right, here are the answers. This is my got quiz. Thank you, Megan, so much. Megan's D2 today, so she's assisting Chantal. Right, and we've got some questions here from Shamama and Ubombo Girl. You've said spider egg or an egg sac. Unfortunately, that's incorrect. Then we have Lucy and Stacy. And the two of you have said, Taylor, is it a marula seed? It isn't, but I will go and find you a marula seed so you can have a look. And then another guess from Mystic Wolf. Oh, you've also said the marula nut too. And then from Jen, you said a magnolia seed pod. Unfortunately, that's incorrect. I'm going to go through them all very quickly because I'm quite interested to see as to what you have guessed. Then we've got Dina. You said mapani comes to mind. Fortunately, we don't get any mapanis in this area. Byron and I are actually discussing it, how on our way here on the road, one of the main tarred roads before you turn off to get into the Sabi sand, there are just mapanis absolutely everywhere. And I've never seen a mapani tree in the sands before. That's the area where we are. Let's go. Morgan, who's only 8 years old, you guessed a fruit pod. Okay, well, fortunately not the answers that I was looking for, but technically some of you would have been correct. You're going to laugh. Guess who also visited camp when I went to go fetch the knobthorn flower? Look what is in my hand. It's peppercorns! So that was a little bit of a trick one. I just thought that I'd pop it under just for some fun. And it was really it was a difficult one. I didn't think that anybody was going to guess peppercorn, because I have never seen a peppercorn tree out here in the Sabi sand either. But you do get them all over South Africa, though. They do grow around. But typically... Yeah, can you please say that name again? Did you say Bliss or Liss? I don't know if it's my radio, but I can't hear Chantal very well. Oh, Vis. Not any of the ones that I said. There we go. You actually guessed correctly. You said black peppercorn. So well done. I'm going to put this down. We need to take that back so that we can, well, add some flavour. Not that we need to add flavour to our foods, because Amanda's just the greatest chef in the whole world. I wonder what she's going to make for dinner tonight. Right, what else are we going to have a look at in the 10? I actually put some coarse salts underneath the microscope too. Can you believe that? It didn't look as great as what I thought it was going to be, unfortunately. So we scrapped that idea and put the peppercorn under and thought, well, that's actually quite pretty. In fact, should we have a look at a clip? What do you think, Chantal? Should we have a look at the elephants that was swimming at Chitwa Dam? Remember, so I think what we're going to do now is, before I say anything more, we are going to start playing the clip now. Enjoy. There we go, challenging each other on the island now. Oh, now it's getting a bit rough. The one on top has definitely got the upper hand. Tom, you said that these are such special animals. They are indeed. You can easily see why they are my favorite animal in the whole wide world. Look at the sheer power. Oh my goodness, this one's being almost pushed off of its feet. Wow. Look at that. Now you see they're even tumbling down every now and then. Obviously the ground is unlevel. Perhaps there are some big fallen trees that we just cannot see. Oh, well, this one's getting a helping hand now. Perhaps it's going to get a shove right up the bank. It's trying to run. That must be terrible. You all know how hard it is to try and run in the pool, if any of you have ever done that before. This is beautiful. Now it's gone very quiet. They're not splashing around as much. They're definitely starting to settle down now. Who knows? Maybe they are like young kids and they get a second wind and start pushing and shoving each other once again. How great was that? Don't you think that was an incredible sighting? Now, if you are a new viewer and you have just joined us, that sighting actually happened at the same dam that Byron's been sitting at. We've been watching the most amazing interaction between hippos having a bit of a territorial dispute. Now, what we were watching over there was not a territorial dispute, because hippos don't mark and defend territories. They have massive home ranges, so they just continue roaming around and do whatever they want. They keep following the rains, looking for the greenest of green grass and all these different types of things. So that was just young bulls basically using of course, their pent-up, well, I suppose, frustrations from not being big dominant bulls and being able to mate with the female, so they're pushing and shoving each other around. I just think it was such a great comparison, having the hippos fighting with Byron and then seeing very similar behavior happening with the elephants. And on that same day, it was obviously very exciting at the dam. It was one of the most amazing experiences I've had, because not only was it those hippos pushing and shoving each other around, but my two little hippo calves that we see at Chitwa Dam, that we've watched them grow from, well, Brent actually found the little one only a couple of hours old, so we really have seen it from the beginning of its life, the youngest one. And they were almost mimicking the elephants. It was the most amazing thing. They were doing exactly the same thing. Of course, it was quite sweet, as you can imagine, because those hippos, those youngsters, don't have any big teeth just yet, so they were gumming each other. And it was just amazing. It's like they saw those elephants pushing and shoving each other around and went, oh, we're going to do that too. But what a great sighting, and I think we're going to have a whole lot more sightings like that at that dam. Obviously, Tristan had another good one of elephants swimming, and I think Byron's had one too. So so we can check that all of us have had great sightings. Now, we're going to move on from hippos and elephants to the tallest creature in the world with Byron.
We found our giraffe, everyone. Look at that. And Tula Ann, you were asking about giraffe. I said I haven't seen for a while, and ask and you shall receive. How is this? I was very excited when I found this giraffe. It's amazing how sometimes the universe delivers at times if you mention things. Such a lovely, quite a big old male giraffe by himself. I don't see any other giraffe around, and it's not unusual to find a male giraffe by himself. Feeding on some of those, looks like possibly feeding on some of those flowers of the, he is indeed. He's feeding on the knobthorn flowers. Taylor was showing them to you earlier. Paula, you say it's your favorite. Oh, I'm glad you got to enjoy a giraffe with us this afternoon. What a nice surprise. This was awesome, just what I wanted. And there's some oxpeckers jumping around the giraffe. Sinatra, you say your first giraffe. Oh wow, okay. I'm assuming, Sinatra, you're a new viewer. Oh, great to have you with us, and great to show you a giraffe. And there's a beautiful golden light at the moment on this giraffe. And it's quite a dark giraffe if you have a look. Now generally with age, giraffes tend to get a bit darker. Genetically some giraffes are just darker than others, but also with age, older males can get quite dark. Beautiful pattern on the giraffe. See all those oxpeckers jumping around on the giraffe, picking off the ticks. Sorry, Chantal, I didn't hear what you said there properly. Liz's comment, what was it again, please? Liz, you said we were due for some giraffe. We were. We hadn't seen giraffe for quite some time. Oh, very graceful animals. Wonderful. I'm so glad we got to see it. It's moving off now. Probably going to go and feed on some of those greener trees. Huh. Lovely. Wasn't that a nice surprise? Just smelling now. You know what? I think it's actually these acacias, the Acacia nigrescens, the knobthorns. Very sweet smell. All those flowers at the moment. There's a wonderful sweet smell in the air, and I think it's exactly those acacias. All right. I'm just listening to the radio now quickly. It sounds like a wild dog, actually. Now this will be a great surprise, or great addition to the afternoon. However, it sounds like they've moved on to Torchwood from Nkoro, which is much further east of us. But we know wild dogs can cover huge distances and move around very, very quickly. So I'm going to listen and just hear where they go. It sounds like a large pack. Sounds like a pack of 9, perhaps, that are moving around. So if they head in our direction, I'll definitely go and try and get a view of them. It would be wonderful to see and to follow those wild dogs. I'm just listening to obviously the chatter now, the vehicles all trying to get to see these wild dogs. But I'm hoping, I think they're still lying down at the moment, but I think they'll probably start getting active fairly soon, and hopefully they decide to run in this direction towards us. We'll wait and see. Chatty Meg. You sound such a tease. You love wild dogs and seeing the wild dogs. Yeah, well, so do I, Meg. So hopefully we get to see them. That'll be great. Funny, these clearings are quite quiet at the moment. Never really see too much around here. Exquisite Bliss, you say, you asked if I'm going to search for some popcorn scent. Now Exquisite Bliss is referring to leopard, of course. Leopards, they scent, when they do scent mark, it has got quite a strong smell, and it does actually smell a bit like buttered popcorn, and that is the best way to describe it. It really does. Well, Exquisite Bliss, I would love to find a leopard. Monique in London. I'm sorry, you said, Chantal, sorry, I didn't hear that. I must collect interesting. What was it? Interesting. Monique in London. You say I must describe some interesting smells in the bush. Now, you know I'm not very good at that. Someone said, what was it? I described the scent of elephant must as a slightly off blue cheese smell, and a lot of you really enjoyed that and found that very funny. So I don't know how good I am at describing the scents, the smells that we have out here. James is a bit better at it. Scanning carefully around here. It's like sometimes you just get a feeling that you might bump into something. Massive termite mound. Oh, it's a big mound. Oh, it's big. It must be one of the largest ones around here. I think that male leopard Mvula, where's Cheetah Pan, I wonder where that is. I'm not sure where that is, but he was apparently seen this morning. I think it's on either Buffelshoek or Torchwood. so it sounds like on Torchwood, the wild dogs, that is. Just keep listening to the updates from the other guides, listening to if they are moving. Stevie, you asked what the wild dogs hunt and what they kill to eat. Well, Stevie, the wild dogs are very efficient hunters. And they're actually probably the most efficient predator out here when it comes to hunting. Because they work together as a pack and they're persistence hunters, they will then run down their prey and work together to catch their prey. Now, they will feed on anything from small antelope, like a steenbok or a duiker, all the way up to impala. I've seen them hunt kudu. I've seen them hunt in other parts of the country. I've seen them hunt larger prey like red hartebeest, which is another species of antelope we get in Africa, or in southern Africa especially. But yeah, so generally it's impala. The preferred, I suppose, food for wild dog in this area, in this part of South Africa, is generally impala. But amazing hunters, very, very exciting to follow and to watch. Okay, well, I'm gonna carry on listening to the radio, hoping those wild dogs get active and maybe move in our direction. But while I do that and also search for some leopards, Taylor's still enjoying the tent, and I think she's got a few interesting things she'd like to show you.
I'm actually having the greatest time in the tent. However, Byron, I am slightly envious of you and the possibility of finding wild dogs. Now, wouldn't that just be an amazing way to end the drive? So I'm not holding thumbs, I'm actually crossing fingers. How do you hold thumbs? But we'll do that anyway. Maybe crossing fingers is just the best thing to do, and they do travel so fast. So I wouldn't imagine that it would be too difficult for those dogs to get from Torchwood to Djuma within a matter of minutes. So hopefully you're ready to do some Ferrari safaris. Now, I remember the other day we were talking about, and it's actually a question that comes up not just from all of you wonderful viewers, but it's a very, very popular question that we get asked as guides about the difference between antelope and deer. But we're not going to go into that. We're actually just going to talk about the horns. And earlier we were looking at the Daddy Longlegs web that has been beautifully constructed over the variety of antelope species that we've got here. Now, if you're wondering why we have a collection of skulls in here, it's quite nice. It's like a little museum, I suppose, in the tent, and it gives us a chance to have a look at them. So these animals all died natural causes out in the bush, and we've recovered their skeletons. And typically you find a lot of sort of prey species, as you can imagine, because that's what the predators are taking down. It's not very often to come across a lion carcass or a leopard carcass, especially one that's out in the open, just every now and then. But now I'm so excited. So, right. If you look down here, we start with the kudu. You can see his bone, and you can actually see how the horn, the keratin part of it, is starting to break away. It's come off here now. Now, if you look quite closely, you might see lots of little holes. You see all the tiny little holes in the keratin there? Now, that's from a horn moth, and it's the larvae that is creating that. And if you look down this side over here, you can see, just in there, look at all this stuff. This is basically, I suppose, like a cocoon, but a cocoon that's used for multiple different things. Normally we see caterpillars out in the bush, and they move around and they're feeding on leaves and grass, depending on what they're going after. However, the horned moth is completely different. The larvae feeds on keratin, so it's basically the same family as clothes moths. They're able to digest keratin. There's not many different species that can do that, but that little larvae basically creates these little things over here out of their own feces, and that doesn't only help protect them from the environment, so cold weather and types of things like that, it also, of course, keeps them safe from any predators. But now what I want to show you is come with me, because firstly, our friend buffalo up here, this is a big African buffalo, or Cape buffalo, who's been decorated quite nicely with the horn moths. It's not moths. Moths with a TH. My South African is coming out to me now. Now, looks like some of those moths tried to make an escape. Now, I would like to please have a look at the microscope, Chantel, if that is possible. And I think you're going to be very excited to see what we've got on the microscope. Look at that! How great is that? So, what you're looking at the bottom of the screen is actually all the feces from the little cocoon type thing that the horn moth larvae is using. And then, look at what's come outside of it. Now, it's not alive, it's dead, it's all crispy. It's dry, it's been here for quite some time. And it looks like a moth that didn't make it. Now, there's not too many of them, but I thought this was quite cool. You can just start to see, I'm going to use the tip of the knobthorn pod to sort of point things out. So here are the wings. A bit difficult to see. I don't know how to turn the light down. It's slightly overexposed, so I apologize for that. And then, apparently, one of the things that make a keratin moth, and how it's easy to sort of tell them apart, is that little bit over there. See how that yellow, there's that yellow tuft of hair? Apparently that is very typical to see on the horn moths. Isn't that just amazing? Now, I can't believe that we found that, and I can't believe it's taken me this long to notice something like that in the tent. But I've done quite a bit of exploring, and I've been digging around, looking in all the different types of crevices and things, but I think that that is just absolutely wonderful. It's empty. So I wonder what actually ate it. I'm just trying to see. Oh, now I've lost it. Oh, we can come back to me because I've now lost my moth. It's all falling apart. I knew I wasn't going to be able to work that microscope for too long, but how amazing was that? I think it's quite cool. But just to give you an example of actually how small it is, but you can't even see it from here. I bet it's that small that it's virtually impossible to see. You can obviously see the little cocoon. And then you might be able to see that tiny little yellow thing just over here. That's the moth that we were talking about earlier. Well, I think that that's pretty amazing. Anyways, we're going to see what else we can find. I'm now getting very excited. I'm going to start shaking the tent to see what falls out from it. Let's go back across to Byron, and I know he's hoping that those wild dogs come west.
Well, I'm hoping so. We'll find out. It sounds like they are up and moving at the moment, but they've run north. Now they are on Torchwood, which is just to my right at the moment. But they're running north. I'm just hoping they decide at some point that west is a good option and they turn and head our way. Hopefully. We'll see. Maybe our luck continues. We've been very lucky and fortunate this afternoon so far. Maybe it continues. Right, I'm just actually going to go through a dip now. So I'm going to keep quiet because we might lose a bit of signal just up until I get on the other side there. So stay with us. There we go. I think we're out, so it should be fine now. It might be a beautiful sunset this afternoon. thought I smelt elephant. It smelt a little bit pungent, almost like the smell of an elephant bull. It's just a brief smell. I don't see any elephant around. Rob, all the way in New Jersey, you asked about the wild dog population and are the numbers increasing with all the conservation that's going on. Rob, you know, the wild dog, unfortunately, are how can I describe this? Hold on a second, I'm not sure what this vehicle up ahead sees. Going to just have a little look and see. Rob, you know, the wild dog population does do well from time to time, and then occasionally what happens is the wild dogs, because I don't know, for some reason they're very sensitive to diseases, rabies, canine distemper, and that can often wipe out packs. So just having a look here to see what these people saw. Can't see anything just yet. What do they see? I'm actually... there's giraffe in the distance. How's that? What are the chances? I mean, there you can just see them through the thicket. I mean, we spoke about giraffes, said we haven't seen them for ages, and all of a sudden we found one, and now there's at least 2 or 3 that I can see moving through the thicket over there. Oh, that's wonderful. Ha, that was a nice little surprise. Some more giraffe. Alright, well, I'm going to actually turn around here quickly and head up Cheetah cut line. That cut line with us, between us and Torchwood. I'm hoping that those wild dogs decide to turn and come this way. I'm just still listening to the radio. It sounds like they're still running north. Come on, wild dogs, come this way. Temperature's starting to drop a bit now as the sun starts setting. I might actually put my jacket on. Right now, so we were discussing the wild dogs and their numbers, and numbers increasing, decreasing. I'm not entirely sure what the numbers are currently through South Africa, but as I was chatting about the canine distemper and the rabies, so the rabies in that they'll pick up from you know, if firstly the wild dogs kill maybe another dog or something that gets in from a community, they can often pick up on rabies from that. And then the distemper, I'm not entirely sure how or what it affects, but again, you know, with the guiding and that I've done, we haven't done, or I haven't spent much time with vets, and when they go and do research on the dogs and stuff, but they just not in the areas that I've guided in. Oh, there's a beautiful bird up in the tree, all spotted. It's a bird of prey, but now I can just see a silhouette. So I'm going to see if we can maybe try to get a view of it from here. Craig spotted it. Maybe we can get a shot through there. How's that, Craig? Is that okay? Just with the sun setting behind it, we can just see a silhouette. But maybe we can punch in and see what it is. It's a bateleur. That is what that is, a beautiful bateleur. Now, so as I was saying, I'm not too sure about the canine distemper, how or what it affects, but all I know is that it acts very quickly and can wipe out an entire pack within a week. It's happened in a few game reserves around South Africa, and it does happen. They're also not sure what they got it from. I was chatting to an ecologist recently in the Kalahari, and he says he doesn't know where it came from, but it got to the pack, and the entire pack of, I think it was 15 dogs, got wiped out, which is very unfortunate and very sad, and very quickly, within a week, as I was saying. Now, Clint, you asked, what is the largest prey that this bird would probably go for? Now, Clint, this bird is actually predominantly a scavenger. They do like to feed on... Oh no, I just heard it sounds like the dogs are running to the east. That's not good. They need to come west. They need to turn around. So, Clint, the bateleur eagle, as I was saying, often feeds on carrion, so dead carcasses. But it can go for some small reptiles and birds. Now, so I would say, and some small mammals. I'm trying to think what small little mammals. Maybe something like a little rodent. Like a scrub hare, perhaps. Yeah, something the size of a scrub hare. A bateleur would be able to kill and feed on that. But as I was saying, they do scavenge a lot, so they'll feed on carcasses. Often the bateleur will get to carcasses before vultures do. They'll try and feed before those big vultures get in, and then the bateleur moves off. Them and tawny eagles. So often if you see a bateleur and a tawny eagle sitting in the same tree or nearby, then the chances are there's probably a kill around. So that's it's actually tip of the day. If you are on safari and you see birds of prey like the bateleur and the tawny eagle sitting in close proximity or in a tree near one another, chances are there's probably a kill close by. So have a good look in that area. I think why don't we get a nice silhouette of this bateleur now. Ah yes, Sinatra, I'll show you a picture of this eagle so you can have a better view of it. Let me just try to get this silhouette. Hold on, sorry, maybe through there. Hey Craig, let me know when you've got a gap. Is that okay? And just have a look at that beautiful silhouette, and then I'll show you what the eagle looks like. Beautiful colors. Isn't that lovely? We basically touching on Craig's artistic side, his sensitive side, enjoying the silhouette. Batman's artistic silhouette. And have a look, everyone. Now, this is interesting. With the silhouette, look at those long feathers hanging down below the bateleur. Can you see those? Those are the wing feathers, actually, that are extended that far. Now, the bateleur is the eagle with probably the shortest tail. It doesn't have much of a tail, very short tail, which is unusual for eagles. Often the tail provides stability when flying. and helps with agility. But the batelia, and that's why when they do fly, well, the theory is when they do fly, they do have that slight rocking motion. The best way to describe it, I suppose, would if you can imagine a person walking on a tightrope and he's balancing and rocking from side to side. That's exactly what a batelia looks like. But you can see those long feathers sticking out below it. Stormy Sea and Izzy, you say this is beautiful. It is. It really is. Just a lovely silhouette of the batelia. Mary, you say you love this view. It is. It's so nice. I promise you. I actually read something the other day, but don't you wish your eyes could capture photographs? Because the colors that I can see now are not quite what you can see on the screen, because there's a wonderful golden light coming through there, but just above it through the trees is still blue sky. So it really is magnificent. It is so wonderful. Aaron, you say you love the sunrises and sunsets. Now, let me show you a picture of this batelia quickly, and show you the beautiful colors for those of you who haven't seen it before. Now, have a look there. Beautiful black bird with a bit of white on the wings, and then that red face. You see that? Very beautiful bird. Lovely to see them. Nice. Isn't that wonderful? What a nice afternoon. We've had such a great afternoon. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you have too. Fighting hippo. We had elephants earlier. We had zebra. We had giraffe. I'm actually quite happy about that. Now, we've trying to see if those wild dogs head in our direction. It doesn't sound like it. And we've still got some time to find a predator, maybe a leopard walks out in front of us. Wouldn't that be great? Alright, now let's head across to Taylor in the tent and see what she's up to.
Well, one thing that I've noticed, Byron, is that you've popped your big khaki bush jacket on. I've put my not so khaki blue, I don't know what you would even call this type of jacket on, but anyway, it's on now. It's getting a little bit cold. I'm glad that there's not much wind, because I think it would be quite a chilly experience. So, great, and what a beautiful sunset you just had. We unfortunately don't have the greatest view of the sunset this afternoon because there's lots of quarry trees in the way, but that's alright. Now, we're going to play a game again. This time I promise you I've used something from around the tent. Can we have a look at the microscope, please, Chantal? There we go, look at that. Now, what do you think that is? Hashtag Safari Live. With what on earth you think I've got underneath the microscope. I'm not telling you if it is an animal, if it is a plant, but all I can say to you is that we do find it here in the low-felt bush. So I haven't completely made it up, so take some screenshots, share them around too, and I hope that you took some screenshots of that sunset, because that was particularly beautiful. Isn't that wonderful? Now, earlier I'd asked you about flowers and what flowers you were most excited about seeing in the up-and-coming season. So I'm going to just stare across at the tent document so I can read. First one was from Rocky, and you were actually quite excited to see the, what do we call it? The balloon cotton bush flower. I don't know if there's rugby or soccer on or something, but I just heard in the staff village everybody going crazy. So someone must have scored a goal. Whatever has happened there. That was quite funny. I got excited. I thought, oh, it's a distress call. Something's caught something, but it isn't. Don't worry, everybody is safe and sound. So the balloon cottonbush flower, I actually had to look up because I was unfamiliar with that common name, Rocky, I must tell you. However, I know it as one of the milkweed species. So there's a couple of spots where we see milkweed around here, typically on Zoe's Road, on Rebecca's. And there's another spot, I've forgotten which road to. So we'll keep an eye out for that. I quite like the milkweed again. It's a plant that I've grown up with and right in the beginning of my guiding career. There's plenty of it down in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. So we'll hopefully be able to find it out in the field and we can demonstrate some of its uses too. And it's also something that the African monarch butterfly feeds on with its toxin. And then we have from Exquisite Bliss and Shamama, you would like to see African violets. Well, as soon as we start doing bushwalks again and we get a bit of rain, we're going to definitely have a look at the at some of the bush violets. They're, I think, a firm favourite with a lot of the regular viewers out here. And then, Aaron, you've said gardenias. We'll search far and wide for some gardenias, hopefully, too. Have we got any ideas as to what we've got under the microscope over here? Anything come through just yet? I'm still guessing. Oh, I have to reach over to scroll now. I'm scrolling. Quiz. Ah, there we go. Thank you. Oh, Megan, you're on form today. Right, so we've got some answers. Snazzy Zep, who've said cotton pod. Nope, incorrect. George Cutler marula flower. Nope, not a marula flower. And then we've got Safari Wild Man back. No, it's just Safari Wild Man. Sorry, I'm reading. There's not spaces. And you said a back of a caterpillar. That's a good guess. That was very creative, but unfortunately that's not it. And then Rocky, you've said a spider's leg. That's also very creative, Rocky. Great for using your imagination because a lot of the insects, and particularly spiders, do have lots of hairs on their legs too. But unfortunately, that is incorrect. Now, I'm surprised I have not heard from Judy H. this afternoon because it's one of James's favourite plants. And I'm going to give you the answer now. The answer, are you ready? Maybe some of you have got it right, and I just haven't seen your answers. I shall check, though, and do that. It's from the wealth area. Let me take it out. Now, it doesn't look like much, of course, but there's a little leaf over here which should give it away. A very, very hairy leaf, and this is just the leftovers of what once was the flowers of the wealth area, but they're all also dry and crispy, just like that stink bug, just like that horn moth that we saw earlier, which is very exciting, and that everything is dry. But of course it's winter. Everything is allowed to be yellow and dry and brittle out of the bush. Isn't that cool? Oh my goodness. Wonderful. Well, that's quite wonderful. And it seems as though we played lots of games in the tent today. I'm going to see what else I can find because I'm enjoying playing around with the microscope, and I hope that you're enjoying it just as much as me. But let's go back across to Byron now, and it seems as though he's looking at another beautiful scene.
It is a beautiful scene. Look at the golden sky at the moment. The sunset, the sun's just dropped down, but what's also beautiful is that it seems like it's a very, very clear day. And if you have a look at the Drakensberg mountain range.
I think Byron's got the volume turned up on his monitor.
Today, for some reason, very, very clear sky this afternoon. Sometimes the sky can get a little bit hazy with dust and that in the sky, and you can't see those mountains as clearly. But today it's very, very clear, and we see them. Beautiful shape of the Drakensberg mountain range, the largest mountain range in South Africa. Basically starts up here in the northeastern part of South Africa and runs through most of South Africa. Starting to get a bit hungry actually. Half an hour left until I can raid the kitchen. I may just make some snacks for us. Been doing some cheese and biscuits for everybody in the evenings when we get back. I think they've been enjoying it. Cheese, biscuits, basil pesto, sun-dried tomatoes. Been really nice little snacks before dinner. I've been trying to impress Tristan. You know, he's very strict at times, so I thought if I impress him with cheese and biscuits, he might be more lenient. Megan in the final control said, was it Byron, food chef or sous chef? Yes, Byron, sous chef Sorrel. Thanks, Megan. I'll settle for sous chef. That's okay. But as I was saying, getting a bit peckish now, hungry. I do suffer from hangry. I don't know if any of you have heard of that term before. Hangry, when you get so hungry. Have a look. Wait, hang on. There's some inyala. It's moving through the grass ahead of us. Some male inyala. Move out the way there, Craig. There we go. Always nice seeing the inyala bulls. Beautiful antelope, very, very beautiful antelope. Their long coats and the colour with that mane running down the back. Moving through the thicket there. Just give me a quick second. Taxon for Byron. Afternoon and 4. Was there any update on the pack? Confirm they turned east through Torchwood. Okay, copy. Thanks very much, Tex. Unfortunately, it sounds like those wild dogs have headed east and north, so through Torchwood they're not heading our direction at all. That's a pity. That is a pity. Well, you never know. They could show up tomorrow morning. Wouldn't that be great? And our Nyala is disappearing through the bush there. Always nice to see those male Nyala. Let's see what else we can find though. Now, as I was saying, I get hangry, so I get it's when you get angry when you are hungry. And Paula asked, I wonder if the animals get hangry. Well, do you see something, Craig? Craig's trying to spot an owl for us again. Okay, Craig, I'm going to try the same. I'm going to try and see if I can spot the silhouette of an owl somewhere. We've been quite lucky with owls the last few days. We've had quite a few different sightings. We've had Scops owl, we've had pearl-spotted owl, we had barred owl. So, what was that? It was a koran sitting in the road that just took off. So a lot of different owls, which has been great. Paula, I don't know about animals getting hangry. I'm pretty sure a lion or leopard would get hangry. Oh, Craig, if you spot an owl before me tonight, I'm going to be quite upset. Let's see. I wonder. Maybe we're lucky. I heard a pearl-spotted owl earlier. It was quite far from where we were. Still beautiful colors in the sky. Stevie, you asked when is the South African spring. It is indeed the same time as Australia, obviously being in the southern hemisphere. Stevie, spring, what is that? Oh no, it's a roller. I mean, great, it's a roller. Not an owl though. I just caught a glimpse of a bird in a tree and I was, wishful thinking. Stevie, so our spring starts, I suppose, October, November. October, November. Sorry, what's going on here? October, November is our spring. Oh no, earlier than that. Because our summer months are December, January, February. That's generally summer. So spring will start late August, September, probably September, October, and part of November. That's generally spring. Although the bush starts changing once we get those first rains, which usually come in around November. Alright, well, let me see if we can find an owl this evening. But while we do that, Taylor is still tenting, and I'm trying to think of an alliteration. I'll think of one. Let me see if I can think of one. Let's go back to Taylor though.
Tenting. I am indeed tenting. It's another one of the words that we've just created, and well, we use it enough now that I feel it should be added to one of the dictionaries. But yes, we are still doing this. Now, I was having a good chuckle when you answered a question from Stevie about it being at the same time being spring in South Africa as it is in Australia. Now, I'm wondering to myself, I wonder if it is my cousin, my favorite cousin Stevie, who lives in Australia. So we'll have to send her a message later and ask if she was watching the show. See, that's the only time I get to interact sometimes with my family, is if they do decide to tune in. But there is such a big sort of time difference. I know they're in Melbourne, so it's about 9 hours from here in South Africa, so it'll be quite late in the evening. If she was indeed watching. What did I want to do? I had something planned. Oh, I wanted to answer a question that came through earlier from James. And seeing as we were talking about sort of creatures that could possibly be in the tent, one of the questions from James was, would things like lizards, so skinks and geckos, actually come and estivate in the tent? Most certainly. I'm surprised we actually haven't seen a rainbow skink, because I've been seeing them around camp now, all sunbathing, enjoying themselves. There's one that lives in my garden. And we came in here yesterday to have a look. Because we hadn't been in the tent for so long, we thought to ourselves, well, myself, Ali, Byron and Tristan went, whew, let's go have a little scratch in the tent and see what we can find. And we came in here thinking that there were going to be snakes and all sorts of critters about, but there wasn't, surprisingly. We even made Byron, Guns McGee, come through and pull out all the boxes underneath, because we sort of stood there and went, nah, I'm fine, thanks, black mambas are a real thing. We're not even Mozambique spitting cobras. We're not going to pull any of those out, because this would make the perfect spot for insects, and that's why we see so many insects in this tent, and I think that's why the spiders absolutely love it in here, because there's so much food for them who needs to be outside. And then they're also protected from sort of predation, except if the lizards and the geckos and things get in here too, then they might have a bit of a problem. But then the snakes will take care of them. Right. I think I think maybe I'm a little bit on the bright side, but it might be perhaps because we're gonna try and sort it out. So while we try and fix my image, which is going to take a long time, I'm going to send you back across now to Byron and see what he's up to.
Oh, I'm still looking for owls. A roller. Is there something back there? Just having a look around. A lot of rollers around here. Come on, we just need a leopard to pop out for us. It's a lovely evening, very, very beautiful evening. It was a nice afternoon. It was a really nice afternoon. Nice and warm, beautiful colours in the sky, clear sky, and luckily we did have some great animals. Entertaining afternoon, and tenacious Taylor in the tent. No, how's that? How's that? There we go. Got the alliteration. She's been keeping us entertained. Oh, John, you asked what is the most bizarre thing I've seen happen in the bush? Gee, John, that's a tough one. I'm trying to think. Most bizarre thing I've seen happen in the bush. I don't. I can't think, John. You know, you constantly see. Or have seen many different sightings, different animal behavior. I'm trying to think. Sometimes these types of questions, John, are always difficult to answer. I can't think off the top of my head. I can't think of one that specifically stands out. I can't think of any now. That it's something bizarre. Sure. I think some insects, you know, John, some of the insects we get out here are incredibly bizarre. They look strange, and I would say it's just some of the insects that we see out here can be quite bizarre. Right, now let's head back to the ladies in the tent in Essentia and Taylor. And apparently they've got their picture fixed in the tent, so let's go and have a look and see what they're up to now.
I actually thought it was quite cool because when I was moving around earlier, I should have done this, of course, back then. It was sort of I don't actually know what was happening. What happened there, so sorry about that. We just had the shutter speed a little bit too low, so it was quite interesting. Anyways, we fixed that and we're ready. Now we have a question from Lo, and the question is, what is my favorite item in the tent and why? Now, I've been trying to think about this, and it's a tough one. I don't know, there's so many different things to choose from. Of course, the microscope is absolutely fantastic. It's a lot of fun. We've got this big joystick over here, and the joystick actually belongs to Ronald the Rover. Ronald the Rover, however, is not in operation at the moment, and the reason for this is we're just waiting for the animals to return, to come back towards Vuyatela Dam, and also in summer, there's too much vegetation on the ground, and it causes serious obstructions, and then Ronald turns himself over. We don't like it when Ronald turns himself himself over or falls off of rocks, because he can become damaged. We don't want that to happen, of course. So now, what else have we got? We've obviously got an array of skeletons and skulls and all sorts of amazing things to have a look at too. I think I'm going to say the microscope has to be one of my favorites, and not only because it gives you a closer look into sort of flowers and looking at insects that you maybe would never have seen with the naked eye, but because it's so challenging to use. You won't believe how difficult it actually is. I mean, you remember the beginning stages when James first got his new toy, the microscope, and James is, of course, the tent man. He is the champion. He is the master. He has got this tent sort of waxed with all its antics. Well, I suppose he's hysterical in here. It's really quite funny. And he mastered it. Now that's my sort of goal, is that I want to be able to work that microscope as well as him. So we've actually got something on the microscope which you can welcome to have a look at. It's quite pretty, I think. It makes for a great wallpaper. Well, that's why I actually put it on. Now, this is a very easy thing. I'm not going to make you try and guess what this is, because most of you would have guessed it straight away, especially for the new viewers, but it is the galls on a silver cluster leaf. And to me, it reminds me of a beehive with the little chambers. Don't you think it's very pretty? I actually want to try and angle it a little bit better so we get a couple more sort of little holes inside. That's quite cool. There we go. That's very pretty. Now I've got it on all three screens. Now, some birds shouting out of the back. I don't know what's upset them. I'm trying to have a look around. Now, this is normally the time that we start to hear leopards, but you can come back to me if you like. And I'm scanning around here. Also, you're going to hear an interesting voice. Are you ready? On the count of 3, and then you're going to hear Herbert say hello. 1, 2, 3.
Hello.
Did you hear Herbie? He's being quiet. Can you believe it? Herbie, who I have to compete for, because he's also just as loud as me, is whispering in the back. How exciting is that, though, to have Herbie back? So hopefully we're going to be able to start doing bushwalks soon, too. Definitely, as soon as the buffalo return, I'm going to be very excited to go back out there, or even the elephants, and start to do some encounters with the various animals. It's very important to keep walking. In the cars, you become very complacent, as you can imagine. The animals completely ignore us most of the time, and they walk past. But when you're on foot, it's a completely different story, and it is just so exciting. And really, the adrenaline that you feel pumping through your veins when you see Africa's great giants moving across the open plains of Quarantine, which are the big plains just behind camp, actually just down that side behind in Essentia, and to see that, or even just a big herd of buffalo coming down to Buffelshoek Dam to have a drink. And can you believe it, that we've even had crocodile on foot before? Amazing. Something that you wouldn't see. Of course, cats are a little bit different. They're great for tracking. I think as soon as we start doing bushwalks, we're definitely going to find out where the cats have been hiding and their favorite spots. Obviously, we're limited to where we can go in the vehicles, and we often can't spend a lot of time tracking sort of as much as we'd like to when we are in the cars. But on foot, you can do that, and you can follow the animals. You can turn around. You can, zigzag just as the animal was doing. So I'm definitely keen to get back into the bush with the great Herbert to learn a thing or two about animal behavior. Fortunately, not too many plants around at the moment, but you know what we will be able to do is we can start looking at the devastation that the elephants are going to cause in these areas coming into the winter months as the grass starts to disappear. That, I think, is definitely something to look forward to. One of my favorites, of course, is the fact when elephants go past and they break trees down and they start chewing them and stripping the bark off of the tree. I always think it's quite interesting to have a look at that. Now, as you know, Byron's driving around. He's got his spotlight out. Him and Craig are searching for silhouettes of owls. He's seen a scops owl. He's seen an African barred owlet. Will he get the pearl-spotted owlet in Essentia? Myself and Herbie are rooting for you.
Right now, Taylor, I'm going to try my best. And it is great to have Herbie back, as always. See, maybe we do some bushwalk sometime soon when we can. It is definitely much easier to track when you're walking around, and also just listening out to the bush, listening to the sounds, picking up on the smells. approaching Vuyatela Dam, so maybe there's something out there. That'll be great. Yanni, yeah, I'm not sure why the bush babies aren't as active now. But yeah, I mean, we haven't really seen many. I think maybe they come out a little bit later. They do probably have to look harder for some food. I actually wonder if this mammal book says anything about their behavior in the winter. Hold on a second. Yanni, let's just have a look here quickly and see what they say about the bush babies being active in winter. No, this the mammal book I have, it's just a field guide. It's not very comprehensive really. It doesn't have too much information on them, but it doesn't say anything about their behavior in winter. But I do think all that's happened is maybe they're getting active a little bit later in the evening. We've been, with our time change and that, we finish a little bit earlier, so maybe the bush babies are just coming out somewhat later, maybe half an hour, 1 hour later than we stay out. Check these drainage lines carefully. Still, Max, you asked if our car ever runs out of fuel here. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully not. I mean, that would not be very, very good. So no, generally it doesn't. So generally it doesn't. No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. That's our job, is to check. Sorry, I'm just listening. Was that an owl calling? Yeah, there are some scops owls calling, but it sounds like they're in Vuyatela camp. So sorry, still, Max. I was saying our job before drive, we go through our checks and we obviously make sure our fuel is checked. So you should never ever actually run out of fuel. You should never ever run out of fuel while on safari, because the guide is meant to check that the vehicle has got enough fuel for each drive. I think I may have to put some fuel in Rusty when I get back this evening. So that, because Taylor's going to be out tomorrow, I'm assuming, Kruger, you're going to be on Rusty again. Yeah, they'll probably be on Rusty too. So I'll put some fuel in for Taylor. Otherwise, she shouts at me. She gets very, very upset. Some bats flying around. Lovely view around the dam now. Pity those scops owls are in camp. Maybe we still have some luck trying to find a little owl. We can't be greedy. We've been fortunate with spotting the little owls, the barred owlets, and the African and the pearl spotted owl. Monique in London, you say you love the scops owl call. Yeah, they are great. I do too. It's a wonderful sound. I do enjoy listening to the scops owls at night. Grr, 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 grr. Something like that, maybe. I'll play it for you, for those of you who are wondering what it sounds like. Let me just get it quickly. Scops owl, there we go. Hear that? There we go. Scops owl. Beautiful sound of the scops owl, and sometimes they can continue for quite some time. Alrighty, well, let's see. We've still got a few minutes. Maybe have some luck with an owl. I'm going to try my best. Hold on. Okay, there's one here. Stick with me. I can hear it. Come on, we've got to find it. The scops owl is here. Just stick with me. It's very, very close. I can hear it calling. Oh, it's in here, yeah. Okay, let's quickly go to Taylor in the tent and let's see if I can find this owl. There we go.
Right, I believe we had a question from Vicky B. And that was, do we have any bird skulls in the tent? So perhaps you may have seen this beautiful one that I'm holding in my fingers. Well, it is the skull of a southern red-billed hornbill. So not the biggest hornbill species that we see in this area, but I think it's quite beautiful. Now, it's not the whole skull. Unfortunately, we're missing the bottom section of the beak, but it's actually quite tiny. But look how massive the eye cavities are compared to its entire head and its beak. Isn't that incredible? I reckon. Can I line it up? Can you see my eye? I need to hold it away a little bit further. What about if I do that? It's so cool. Right, but this is it's an amazing bird, of course. One thing that I'm super impressed by is not just how big the eyes are, of course, which indicates that they must have really, really good vision. So we see normally owls, for a matter of fact, thick knees, those sort of some of the nocturnal species of birds, and coursers have got rather large eyes. Even a nightjar has got a big eye. But the hornbills, they use it, and we see it often. They stare left, right, down, up, down, looking for insects constantly. Or should I do it with I should have done it with this. That's how they're looking. Then they stare, and then they peck. Anyways, very sharp tip of the beak too. I definitely would not like to be pecked by a southern red-billed hornbill. Their beak seems to be slightly more refined than that of a yellow-billed hornbill, which is a slightly larger cousin, I suppose. I reckon, I wish we actually had a skull of the southern yellow-billed hornbill. Maybe we get lucky and we find perhaps a carcass or something like that maybe a raptor has taken down of a southern yellow-billed hornbill. Then I'll totally bring that back, and then we will let it sort of rot and get all the feathers and the meat off of it, and then we'll bring it to the tent once it's ready. But very, very sharp tip. Now, Machine Gun Nest, you said that it looks like a lion claw. What if I do that? Is it lion claw like? Very sharp. It could hurt you. If you were to be pecked by one of these, it would quite easily peck your eye out, I reckon. Though I don't know if a hornbill would find a human eye tasty. Let's hope that stays like that forever. But I'm going to put it back on the shelf now. I don't want to break it, because really James will have my head, and my head will be featuring as one of the very many skulls. If it does feature, though, I'd like to be positioned up here next to the wildebeest skull. Just in case. If that happens, you know where to put me. You can hashtag Safari Live and tell James that Taylor wants her skull next to the wildebeest. Right, enough fun and games and being silly in the tent. It's actually been lots and lots of fun here. I don't think there's very much time left for the show, only a few minutes in fact. So let's go back across to Byron, armed with his spotlight, and hopefully he's going to find that owl that's making all the noise.
Oh, can I tell you, just as you went to Taylor, we spotted the scops owl, a little scops owl up in the tree. Craig spotted it before me. He's very chuffed. I'd like to think I led him to it by listening to the call, saying it was close. Come on, let's see. I just need to find it for you. It's up here somewhere, but we can't see him. He just flew in here. Come on, little owl, please show yourself for us. I can't see him at all. He's right up here. Come on. This is so frustrating, everyone. He's right up there, I just can't see him. Oh no. And because he's above us, I don't think we'd be able to. Oh, can you get the camera up there, Craig? Oh. Anyway, shall we sit and just listen to him? How's that? Owl is above us. Can't find him. He's hiding in the tree. But we did see him. We caught a glimpse of him. A wonderful Scops owl. Now, anyway. Thank you very, very much, Taylor, for your help from the tent this afternoon. Taylor and Innocentia. I think the girls did a fantastic job there, so thank you very much. It made it a bit easier with us driving around. But I hope you enjoyed the afternoon. I thought it was a lovely afternoon. Elephant, those fighting hippo, Scops owl calling, giraffe, zebra. We saw a lot. Thank you to the ladies in the final control, the voices in my head, obviously. And of course, as always, a big thank you to the viewers. We really appreciate your questions and your comments, and it's always nice to hear from all of you. And I hope you had fun on your afternoon safari, your sunset safari with us. We'll join you tomorrow morning again. Taylor will be out in the vehicle and I will be in the tent. So we'll see you then. Have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. I hope you're enjoying a great weekend. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night and goodbye, everybody.